Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started now. Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. And welcome to today's webinar. It's such a pleasure to have you join us, and I'm excited to moderate this very important discussion on funding global health law LLMs. Throughout this webinar, you'll be able to drop questions in the Q&A box. Just to let you know that we'll have some dedicated time at the end of the webinar to answer these questions, but please feel free to go ahead and post your questions in the Q&A box as the webinar progresses. Just to give you a quick introduction, my name is Oloiko Egbohare. I go by Olo, and I am the Assistant Director of Health Law Programs and Capacity Building at Georgetown Law. I am also an alumna of this LL.M program, and I finished in December of 2021 after being admitted right in the middle of COVID. And I've worked with the O'Neill Institute since I graduated in December of 2021. I work with Mania Tony, who is the program coordinator for the capacity building team at O'Neill, and whom you will get to meet and work with more closely on campus during the LL.M program. For the benefit of those who have not participated in any of our previous webinars, I just wanted to share briefly about our LL.M programs in global health law. We have two health law LL.Ms here at Georgetown, and the LL.M, the first one is the LL.M in national and global health law, and the second is the LL.M in global health law and governance. We also have a few different certificates that you may take to complement your program, and these include the US Health Law Certificates, the International Human Rights Certificates, the Refugees and Humanitarian Emergencies Certificates, and the WTO Studies Certificate. For the National and Global Health Law LL.M program, students generally spend the entire academic year in Washington, D.C., and are required to take a limited number of academic credits to meet the requirements of graduating with this LL.M degree. This is usually a minimum of 24 academic credits for US-trained lawyers and a minimum of 20 academic credits for foreign-trained lawyers. Of these credits, foreign-trained lawyers are required to take at least 14 health law specialization credits to graduate with the degree, while US-trained lawyers must take at least 16 specialization credits. But both US and foreign-trained lawyers are required to take the mandatory 2-credit Global Health Law Survey course. To make up your 14 or 16 specialization credits, we have an unparalleled health law curriculum with more than 60 health law courses. And these courses are reviewed annually to keep up with changes in the health law space, in global health law. For example, following the COVID-19 pandemic and other public health emergencies since then, we introduced the course Global Health Security and the Law. Public-private partnerships as well, international rights to health. These are all courses that have been introduced with the recent developments in health law. And our course in international right to health is taught by a former United Nations Special Rapporteur on the right to health. We also have a course on decolonizing global health law, which is taught by the current UN Special Rapporteur on the Right to Health and her fellow co-chair of the O'Neill-Lancet Commission on Racism, Structural Discrimination, and Global Health. I also wanted to briefly highlight some other opportunities that are available to our LL.M students. For example, health law LL.M students typically have the opportunity to work as research assistants with the O'Neill Institute and health law faculty at Georgetown Law. Research assistants usually just support cutting-edge research endeavors at the intersection of health and law. And our research assistants in the past have supported book projects, projects related to the pandemic accord, legal mapping projects relating to universal health coverage, COVID-19 laws and policies, food laws and policies, and many others. It's also important to note that LL.M students at Georgetown have the opportunity to undertake externship placements at various organizations in DC. And some organizations and institutions where our students have externed at in the past include the World Bank, the Food and Drug Law Institute, the IMF, On the Hill, and many more. We also have our LLM in Global Health Law and Governance, which is a joint degree with the Graduate Institute in Geneva. The Geneva end of this program is run by Professor Gianluca Borchi, who is an established expert in global health diplomacy and the co-author of one of the seminal texts in this field, Research Handbook on Global Health Law. As part of this program, students usually are able to pursue an internship at a health law organization in Geneva, such as the WHO or other UN agencies. And alternatively, students can write a thesis if they would not like to do an internship. In this program, students will spend the fall semester in Washington, D.C., and the spring in Geneva, two of the health law capital cities of the world. Just like when they are at Georgetown, students have the opportunity to take a broad range of different courses in Geneva, which are offered every year. We had a webinar sometime last month with the team at Geneva, which has recently been posted to our YouTube channel, but just to highlight that being in Geneva brings unique experiences, including access to a strong professional network because of the location of the program, and also because of the proximity to key global development agencies. It's also a rare opportunity to learn at the seat of global health law and the home of the World Health Organization. Now, to the real reason that many of us are here today. We understand that funding is a critical factor people consider while making a decision about whether, where, or when to undertake an LLM degree. And even though the Global Health Law LLM program provides incomparable value for its cost, Georgetown Law and the O'Neill Institute offer a limited number of scholarships each year to subsidize the cost of attendance of talented students from low-income countries and communities around the world. Over the next couple of minutes, I will take you through the different scholarships that we offer, and our incredible alumni who are with us today online will also share a bit more about what scholarships they got, how they applied, and how they put together a competitive application. The first and most popular scholarship that I would like to highlight that we offer is the Global Health Law Scholars Program. And through this scholarship, we offer a limited number of partial and full tuition waivers to outstanding LLM candidates. The Global Health Law Scholarship Committee screens applications and selects successful candidates based on their academic qualifications. While a law degree is a prerequisite for applying and getting admitted to study for the LLM degree, for the scholarship, applicants would need to go a bit further and show some background understanding of health law. This could be through university courses, self-learning, certifications, and things like that across any of the topics in health law. Another thing that the committee looks out for is experience within the legal field. So this could be experience within health law specifically, or experience that could be transferable to health law. And finally, the committee also looks at the extent to which a candidate is able to demonstrate a potential for excellence within the field of global health law. So basically, how have you shared in your application what you will do with this LLM degree? Now, although this is generally an award that's based on merit, we also consider applicants' financial status and need. The second scholarship is the Belen Rios Health and Human Rights Scholarship. Belen was a former staff at O'Neill who left a huge mark in the field of health and human rights, and she was also an alumna of the LLM program. A huge part of Belen's work and career as a lawyer and activist was dedicated to advancing the right to health through the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases. She was a leader in the field in Latin America and globally. She was also a passionate advocate for public health and human rights, and an integral ally to and a member of very many civil society organizations and coalitions. In honor of Belen and to advance her work within this space, which was her legacy and her passion, the O'Neill Institute created this scholarship to support a student in their pursuit of an LLM in national and global health law. And this scholarship is a full scholarship. Some previous recipients of this award, of this scholarship, include Daniel Dorado, who is currently in the program, Berenice Serra, who we have the honor of having online with us today, and you get to hear a bit more from her, and Alan Maleche, who wanted to join us today but couldn't make it because of some other commitments that he had. Finally, I would like to highlight the Healthy Food Law and Policy Scholarship. This scholarship is managed by the Global Center for Legal Innovation on Food Environment at the O'Neill Institute. The center awards scholarships to exceptional students with demonstrable interest in health and food law and policy, particularly where there's a potential for these students to contribute to the field in their home countries. Some previous recipients of this scholarship also are highlighted on this screen. I will now hand over to Jessica Brom from the admissions office, who will briefly address the procedure for applying to the LLM and applying for scholarships. Over to you, Jessica.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. So you already know a lot about the health law, LLM, and you want to apply. So here I am. I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Admissions. So I'm part of the team who receives out the applications for the LLM program. And I will tell you a little bit about our application process. So our classes starts always in August. And our application process starts a year before that, in the beginning of October, and runs until the beginning of February. I will explain a little bit more about the deadlines. But so if you are, and we are in the session here talking about scholarship, we highly recommend, if you are a foreign trained lawyer, we highly recommend for you to apply by February 5th. So this is the deadline, priority deadline, for people who want to be considered for scholarships. And for US trained lawyers, this deadline is February 15th. We still receive applications after this deadline, but that's not guaranteed that your application will be reviewed by the scholarship committee. So I tend to advise the students should always remember February 5th or February 15th as an application deadline, because most of students, of course, want to be considered for a scholarship. Our application process is pretty, it requires pretty standard documents: application form, resume, personal statement, transcript. So transcript has to be all the graduate degrees you have. So if you have a bachelor's degree from other university, and then you have a law degree, or you have a master degree or PhD, we need all those transcripts with translations. The personal statement here, I pass really quickly, but a lot of people have questions regarding the personal statement. It's a free paper where you can write anything you want. It's about 2 to 3 pages long, double spaced. We highly recommend for you to write a little bit more about you. It's an opportunity for you to tell us more than your documents don't tell, right? So we have your transcripts, we have your resume, we'll have your letters of recommendations. So the personal statement will tell that story, that your highlights about you as a person, your career, anything you want to mention. And so then we also requested the registered certification form in case you are not applying through LSAC. So if you're applying through LSAC, you don't need to worry about the certification form. We highly recommend you to apply through LSAC, but it's not mandatory. And also the TOEFL or IELTS score, those scores can be waived in very specific situations. So for instance, if you are coming from an English-speaking country, your TOEFL or IELTS will be automatically waived. Or if you are not from an English-speaking country, but you graduated, your law degree was taught exclusively in English, you can request a waiver. And then usually the waiver is granted if you are graduated in English. And then 2 letters of recommendations. You can send up to 3 letters. We request 2 letters. Choose wisely. Our advice is always to choose from people that really know you, either academically or professionally, or both. It's really up to the candidate, whoever will write the letters. Be wise for those to choose those people that really know you and will tell us a little extra information about you. All those documents are really important for us. We know we are under this technology world where people are using AI and all those tools. We truly advise the candidate to do the self-reflection necessary to write a personal statement, and we truly read those documents. So and because we have a holistic approach of the admissions, all those documents will be taken into consideration, will be extremely important for us. Another thing I'd like to highlight here, we have a rolling basis process. So as soon as you apply, as soon as you get your decision. So that's another highlight here for you. One thing also, our office is always open for email, phone calls, any question you may have. You are welcome to call us, to email us, and we'll be happy to help you. I don't know if Olo has another slide, but I think that's all. Oh, how to apply. Yes, there is another slide. So of course, yes, you have to indicate your interest. The personal statement is a great tool for that. You should mention perhaps why you were considering an LLM, why in health law, why do you think this LLM will help you to do the next move in your career. So all those connections will be very important for us to know more about you and your goals, and why the LLM would be a good fit for you right now. We don't have in terms of requirements in terms of how many years of work experience. So this personal statement can really help us to understand if it's a good fit for your life. The candidate, we believe that the best timing is the best time the student choose to do the LLM. So if you explain to us in your personal statement, that's all we need. On a side note, if you're applying for a scholarship, for health law scholarship, you may have a look on our website. It's highly recommended. There are all the information you need there, but because you need extra documents for those scholarship application. And in this sense, you need a 500-word essay on an issue on health law or policy. So you have to submit this essay with your application. And the same works with the statement of financial need. So you are going to send your documents together with the application documents. And then that's because after admission, you're automatically send your application to the scholarship committee. So we don't want to, waste time. If you don't have all your documents, it will be not possible this process to runs smoothly. But if you don't remember anything I said here, it's a lot of information. Please contact us. I'll be happy to help. Our team will be happy to help as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And all this information, just like Jessica said, is available on our website. I think on the form that you're going to fill on LSAC, if you apply via LSAC as well, there'll be an opportunity for you to choose what scholarship you're applying for, if you're applying for a scholarship. And so I think on that form, you only see the Global Health Law Scholarship. And so just click that regardless of which scholarship you think you qualify for among all the 3 different ones I mentioned. Once you click the Global Health Law Scholarship, you will automatically just be considered for all 3 scholarships. But as you would see from the candidates that I highlighted, the recipients I highlighted earlier, all their profiles look very different. So even though you'll be considered for all those scholarships, your success depends on which ones match your profile best. And just like Jessica said as well, you have to submit a 500-word essay on an issue of health law or policy that's important to you, and also a statement of financial need. Because as I mentioned earlier, even though we are looking out for talents and merits, these scholarships are also need-based. And so we understand, that the financial conditions are not the same across the world, across the country as well. If you can, just don't let the essay be more than maybe a page long, if possible. So nothing too long, just something concise.
I have just another thing, Olu. I'm sorry, I forgot to
No
mention.
worries.
So we are offering a fee waiver, application fee waiver for people who are attending this seminar, this webinar. So I'll be sending an email by Friday with application fee waiver code. And so if you're applying through LSAC, you're going to use this code on your application, and we'll waive the application fee for Georgetown. So I hope it helps you in your application process.
Thank you so much, Jessica, and I'm very excited to hear that. And I really do hope it helps in your application, and I hope that means you come to Georgetown for your LLM. Okay, so moving along now to our alumni and students panel. I am very happy and pleased to introduce our amazing panelists for today. All these individuals are leaders in health law. We have a good mix of current students and alumni who have graciously agreed to spend their time with us and share their experiences with funding their health law LLM degrees today. I would waste no more time and just move along and start with the first person here on my screen, Bedima. I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself. Tell us, who are you? Where are you from? Why did you decide to pursue the LLM, and what scholarships did you receive? Bedima, I also know you did the Global Health Law and Governance LLM, so if you can share about the LLM that you did as well, that would be great. Over to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you, Olu. Thank you very much. Yes, so my name is Bedima Dut. I'm in Ghana. I'm from Ghana, and I came to Georgetown in 2023. I came on the Global Health Law Scholarship. I think I'm very grateful to Georgetown because it was a full scholarship with total fee. I didn't have to pay any tuition fee. I applied for the Global Health Law and Governance program. And so I was in Georgetown for the fall, and then I had to leave for Geneva in February 2024. And Geneva is also another very interesting and environment that everybody should experience. So I finished the Geneva component, I think somewhere around June, and then I came back to Georgetown and finally came back to Ghana somewhere in October. Presently, I work in so many things, working with the Ministry of Health, working with the Ministry of Justice, and doing some consultancy work. I decided to do the global health law because I had done a lot of work and private practice, and I've also read a lot of books and journals published by Georgetown Law Center on a lot of things concerning health. And looking at my background and what I was practicing, I thought it was a field that I could excel in. So I put in the application, and luckily I was admitted. My advice to everybody is that every part of the application process, you have to take it seriously. Don't rush through it. So you start early and fill one line every day and make sure that you have done a very good job, particularly if you are looking for scholarship. And so your resume, your statement of financial needs, and the 500-word essay must speak for you when the committee is probably looking at it. But it's a very nice program. It's a challenging program. It has a very bright future. So I think that is what I will say for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bedima. I'll move next to Berenice.
Hi everyone, how you doing? Sorry that I used my cell phone, but I don't understand what happened with my computer. So thank you so much for the invitation. I'm from Argentina. Before doing my LLM, I was working as advocacy and legal coordinator at the Inter-American Foundation Argentina. It's an organization that works on NCD prevention and NCD policies with a human rights perspective. So now that I was graduated, I am working as international consultant at the Pan American Health Organization. So I think that was a big experience that led to find this job. About the scholarship, I was honored to have the Belen Scholarship. As Olo said, Belen was an incredible advocacy and advocate for human rights, social justice, and feminism. And I'm saying that because I think that if you are applying for this scholarship, that is a very good scholarship because I have 100% scholarship. We provide full tuition waiver leave stipend. So it's a very good scholarship. So I think that knowing about Belen, about her work in social justice, human rights, and how to build this perspective of public health and human rights and how to advocate for that. I think this scholarship is also very useful for people that doesn't come from the academia or doesn't have a very huge background in that work more from advocacy, because a lot of scholarship doesn't take into account that if you have been working I will say more in the real world with working with the Ministry of Health, working with the Congress, the reality is that you don't have a lot of scholarship that having this. And I think that this scholarship is very useful for that, for people that have been working advocacy for public health, public reproductive rights. I think that I will encourage people that have this background and have been working to apply for this scholarship and also to join this small world Scholar of Belen. I think that is very beautiful. And also I will say the same that Belina said about your letter of application. Take time to do all the things, especially also take time to request paper from the university. Something that maybe you say, it's something that you take 1 week. It doesn't, because something from developed countries, universities, especially public universities, are huge and have a lot of students. So I will say that also take into account that bureaucracy sometimes is very problematic. So take your time to do all the things. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Berenice. I'll move on to April.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Olo. Thank you, Marnia, for inviting us as panelists for today's webinar. I am April Ong. I am originally from the Philippines, and I was and still is. I'm just on study leave. I was and still is a law clerk at the Supreme Court of the Philippines. And I received a Fulbright scholarship under the Fulbright Philippines. And in addition to that, I'm also a partial merit scholar grantee from the O'Neill Institute for National and Global Health Law. So in terms of the tuition, the O'Neill Institute granted me with about 55% of the tuition cost for attending Georgetown, and then the remaining 45% was given by Fulbright, shouldered by Fulbright. And in addition to that, Fulbright also is giving me monthly living allowance. So the stipend, I understand, is the same for all Fulbright scholars from different countries. So there's, I think, a somewhat a tariff of the cost of living allowances depending on the state where the scholar is based. So we have uniform cost of living allowance. And then why did I pursue the LLM program specifically in Georgetown? The O'Neill Institute is the best health law program there is in the US. And so when I was accepted in the program, I literally did not take a second look of the other grants from other universities. And apart from being a law clerk in the Supreme Court of the Philippines, I was also part of the technical working group that drafted the implementing rules for the Filipino Sign Language Act. So the area of interest is in health and disability law and disability rights. So the advocacy is making the Philippine judiciary more accessible for persons with disabilities. That's why I chose to pursue my LLM in National and Global Health Law at the O'Neill Institute for National and Global Health Law. Thank you.
Thank you, April. I will now move on to Juan Carlos.
Thank you, Olo. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Well, my name is Juan Carlos Orjuela. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. Previously, before coming to Georgetown, I was working for a law firm in the life science practice, particularly advising clients from the drug and food industry, medical device industry on several topics, including drug regulation and healthcare regulation. That's basically my background. And why I decided to pursue the LLM, well, as I think as April mentioned, like Georgetown was my initial and only option when I decided that I wanted to do an LLM. Like I saw the program, I saw the many courses that the program offers, because yeah, of course there are a lot of on global health, which is important, and it's one of the reasons that I decided to take it. And it's because right now Colombia is going through a health reform. So having more tools in order to be able to participate on the conversation on health reforms was something that I was looking for, and well, Georgetown offered that. But also Georgetown has other classes and other courses on food and drug law that are uh, like I don't know. That's probably the best programs in the States and probably around the world. And these classes are taught by uh, law firm partners that are well aware of all the regulation and that can balance and give you all the balance that you need to understand these issues, and provide you like a lot of background on how to tackle a lot of issues regarding these topics, like how to deal with many of these intricacies that have drug and food regulation. So that's one of the main reasons that I decided that Georgetown was the best option for me, and I'm not regretting at all. Like I just started on August, so I've been here for almost 5 months now, and it's been an incredible and amazing experience so far. What scholarships that did I receive? I basically have two. One of them was the Global Health Law Scholarship, and that granted me almost 50% waiver of the tuition, which is like I couldn't make it if it wasn't for that opportunity. And as you can see, I have a different profile. I come from the private sector, and yet again, I also like offer like my perspective on how can pitching in helping towards global health challenges and global health law challenges. So that I think it's important to take that into consideration when you're applying. And I also had the Coles Futuro scholarship / loan. If you're from Colombia, you're probably aware of that opportunity. That gave me almost a 40% part of the funding that I needed to attend to Georgetown. If you're not aware, you can waive some of the fees of the more than the fees of the loan. that you receive if you go back, and there are certain thresholds and certain requirements that you need to comply in order to receive this waiver in order to have a better scholarship from that side. But that's basically it. In the perspective of how to prepare your application, I guess it's important to as Jessica was mentioning, to do an exercise of self-reflection. Like, I did my letter, my personal statement in one day. But I started like several months ago before that, like prepare, thinking about who I was as a person, what I wanted to do in my life, why I thought that this program was the best for me. So even though I actually wrote everything in one day, it started before, like months before that, like with a lot of self-reflection and a lot of thinking who I was as a person and what were my values, and why I wanted to attend to Georgetown. I guess that's like my main tip for now.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. Over to you, Pato.
Thank you, Olo, and thank you again for the invitation to be a panelist in this important discussion. My name is Patricio Lopez Turconi. I am also a foreign trained lawyer. I'm originally from Argentina, and I'm currently working at the O'Neill Institute as an associate for the Center for Health and Human Rights. So a little bit about where I'm from and why I decided to pursue the LLM. As Jessica was saying, maybe that the best timing is the timing that you personally choose. And for me, I was preparing my application in 2020, right as the pandemic was unfolding, and it seemed natural for me to just pursue the LLM right away, to have the tools to understand the public health emergency and how to respond to it. And at the time, I was working as an independent consultant, both on topics of health and human rights, but also on international development topics that had nothing to do with health. So I had the opportunity to maybe put all that knowledge, merge it into an application that would try to understand the different nuances of the pandemic, because that was the time that I was working on the application. And again, as many echoing many of the things that were said by my co-panelists, the Georgetown program is still the best program out there on health issues and health and human rights in particular. And I was excited to be able to continue learning and deepen my expertise on the health issues that I was already working on. And that definitely shaped my application, and a lot of self-reflection was happening around that time, and it was a great opportunity for me to work on the materials. But echoing what other panelists have said, it's important that you take as much time as possible to work on them, because there's many unexpected things that can happen during the process, and it's better to be prepared for that. And I applied and received a Global Health Law Scholarship that provided for a full tuition waiver in my case, and that was definitely instrumental for me to be able to attend Georgetown during that time. And I would say that I had to, when you're applying for a scholarship like that, it's important that you devote as much time and effort to your scholarship essay and statement of financial need as you will be devoting to the personal statement, right? Because they make the difference. And so in my case, I found it useful to in my scholarship essay to talk about developments in Argentine health law that could enrich the conversation about global health issues. And I think that's usually something I would recommend everyone to see if there's something at the national level that can contribute to the international discussion, or that can provide a different point of view on the topics, and that will set you apart from other candidates as well. And in the statement for financial need, I think it's also important for you to explain to the committee why you need the scholarship, in the sense, in terms of why can't you not use other available sources of funding. And at least that, in my case, was the strategy, explaining why other sources of funding were not available for me at the time, and I depended on the scholarship. But I would say also that it's important, as Jessica was saying, that in the personal statement, it's opportunity for you to say everything that's not in your other materials. So to take that chance to show a little bit more about who you are, why you're interested in health law, what experience you have, and why you really want to why you want to be a part of the program, what the program means for you.
Thank you so much, Pato, for your insights. And last but definitely not the least, I'll hand over to Shireen.
Hi, everyone. Happy to have this chance to join these talkings. So my name is Xu Yun, and I'm from Taiwan. Before pursuing my LL.M, I was an attending physician specializing in ENT, which is ear, nose, and throat, and traditional Chinese medicine. After graduating, I returned to Taiwan and was promoted to the director of Department of Traditional Chinese Medicine. And I also oversee the hospital's International Medical Center. In addition to my clinical work, I actively participating in formulation of Taiwan's healthcare policies. And I'm going to be a faculty member at medical schools. I got about what scholarship I got. So I was in a 2-year LL.M. So for one of my year, I received a Daniels High Scholarship, which provides a full tuition waiver. And for another year, I received a 50% tuition waiver from Health Law Program. And besides from Georgetown, I also received scholarship from my country, which is because I'm pursuing a PhD degree in law at that time. So my school also provide part of the tuition waiver for me. So about applications, I believe that it's important to have confidence in yourself. For example, I told the school that I'm the only scholar in Taiwan who specializes in traditional Chinese medicine and is currently pursuing a PhD in law. I also provide schools with the funding preparations I have done, as well as the difficulties I will face despite this preparation due to tuition issues. I believe that cost living in Washington, D.C. is approximately 3 times higher than in Taiwan. Therefore, get the scholarship is essential for us, especially in the Asia country, I believe. After I graduated from Georgetown, what I feel is that a good education in Georgetown can definitely change your personality and change the possibility of your future. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer it after this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Shireen, and thank you all so much for those insights. I heard a lot about, maintaining confidence, about putting your best foot forward, and about just making sure that you're doing everything that you can to stand out as an applicant. And I think those are all important pieces of advice and things that the scholarship committee definitely looks out for. Another thing that I would say is also, Pato's advice about making sure that you link whatever it is that is the issue that you're highlighting on a national level to a global level as well. Because the program that you're applying for, even from the name, it says LL.M in national and global health law. So what are the links that you're seeing within your country that could be applicable to other countries? What are the problems that you're seeing in your country that we could take lessons from in another country and things like that? I think you can be very creative with the issue that you highlight, with the interest that you portray even in your essay. And that's really important for your personality to shine through in what you're writing as well. My panelists have been so awesome and they have answered most of the questions on my list, even the ones not on the screen. But what I also want to encourage you guys to start dropping your questions in the Q&A box if you have any. I know that we have a couple now there. But if you have any questions before we turn it over to questions and answers, I just want to give you a chance to start dropping those in even while I ask this next round of questions. I also wanted to flag that later this week, as promised, we'll send a list of 60 plus scholarships and funding options, additional funding options that you can explore as you think about finding funding for your LLM program. One thing that I think was important for us to highlight in this program is that even beyond Georgetown, beyond the O'Neill Institute, there are opportunities for funding. On Georgetown's website, there is a long list of scholarships that are country-based, issue-based, gender-based, and even the list that we'll send you as well. There are a number of different scholarships for different countries. For example, April highlighted that she's currently on the Fulbright scholarship. Juan Carlos is on Kofuturo. Shuyun got the Daniel Sai endowment. So there are other different options for you to explore, even outside of Georgetown, to make sure that you have sufficient resources just to fund both your tuition and your living costs, depending on where you are from. So turning it back to our panelists now, and I think I'll start with you, Shuyun. If you can just share a bit about how you survived in DC. I know you did the 2-year LLM. A lot of people talk about DC being so expensive. How did you survive with rent? Were you a research assistant or a fellow or a student worker at Georgetown? What were the things that you did to make sure that you had, the lights on in your apartment and had enough to eat?
Okay, thank you, Ola, for the questions. Oh, I believe that it's really hard to survive in DC for me. And for the most important part, I think, is to learn how to cook. Eating outside is too difficult for us. So we have lunchbox and we can talk to our classmate during lunch. I feel like it's another way to make friends with your classmates and at the same time save some living expenses. And for the living, I live in the dorm in the beginning. And I highly recommend this part because we have a lot of activities in Georgetown Law. And it's hard to attend as much as possible if you live far away from school. And our dorm is not that new, but it's comfortable and very easy to make friends with your classmates and even maybe JD students. And I think you will have different experience to live in dorms rather than live outside, because for my second years, I live outside because I have a baby later on. They don't accept a baby in the dorm, but I highly recommend the dorms. And so it's the part that you can consider off as well. And for living outside, we have some information from previous alumni, and we can also get some access from Taiwanese groups in the DC. So this is something that others from Georgetown gave us a good list of where you can live. It's also that you can consider, but most of the living for Asia country students is too expensive. And so we will live together in one small places. I don't know whether it works for you or not, but we did that. So that's my survival guide. Thank you.
Thanks, Shim. I think that is very helpful. For sure, student housing is very important, and sharing. I also shared and lived in a row house while I was doing my LLM, so I completely agree with that perspective. Juan Carlos, can I pass it on to you? How are you surviving since you're right in the middle of it? I know you're also doing a research assistant position. If you can share a bit about how that is helping or how it is not for the prospective students online.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. I think I'm gonna echo Shujun in cooking. It's like one of the necessities if you're on a budget. Like, and this is coming from someone that it was not used to cook at all. Like, and I didn't even know how to cook rice. So I was a beginner when I started. Now I'm much better, and I'm actually enjoying the process of cooking here. So don't close your mind about that, because buying outside food, it's gonna be quite expensive, and you're gonna see like most of the money is gonna go from there. So that's one tip that I will give you. Of course, the research assistant positions that O'Neill offers are also something that you definitely should consider when you start the program. It helps, of course, it helps, and if you manage to balance like the work that you get from the research position and your other classes, there's no. I mean, I think it's manageable, and it's all about your priorities, and it's an income that it's helpful. So having that opportunity here, it's something that you should take into consideration when deciding which university you want to attend. Oh, Georgetown offers that, and it's quite beneficial. Another tip that I will give you: keep an expense tracker. I track almost all my expenses. I know where my money is going for. I have budget, so I understand like if I'm buying groceries, how much can I spend this month? And each month I understand how much money it went for food, for groceries, for clothes, for I don't know, even if I want to go out and get a beer. Like I budget everything. I understand where's my money going for. So that's also another tip. And compared to Shujin, I decided not to go to the dorms. I live close by, but I'm not exactly in the dorms. I find an opportunity was cheaper for me. It's like 15 minutes from to Georgetown from where I'm staying, and I found that the best alternative, at least in my experience. Dorms can be a little bit higher on the price on the rent, so you can find some place that it might be cheaper. Of course, be careful. There are a lot of scams around, so do your due diligence, check everything. But I found that one of the best alternatives, try to connect with someone that it's also attending to Georgetown. You will see there are a lot of people, at least from Colombia, that attend to Georgetown, to try to connect with them through the events that Georgetown is doing all the time, like this networking event, or not that networking, but these events, these information sessions that you have. You can connect with people and try to get like try to connect with them, and then you can maybe share an apartment when you come here. That will be cheaper if you rather if you stay here alone. So those will be my tips.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. And I'll pivot to Berenice now. The same question.
Yeah.
Just
Thank you. Yeah, I would say that also you need to check out different alternatives, because I wasn't a research assistant, but I was a fellow at the Global Health Institute in Johnstown. That's also another opportunity. I think that when you apply for research assistant, there's another things, another opportunities that you can also check. In that moment, I worked with the Constantine van der Neel Institute, and it was incredible, because also there's the part that Juan Carlos said about income, and I think that in a very expensive city as DC is very important, but also you have the opportunity to work with different projects that have related with your LLM. For instance, I have been working with reproductive rights in different parts of the world, and I think that was very interesting. Also, the combination of the study and the combination with working with a project. And also in the second semester was a fellowship also with an institution that has an agreement with an institute. It's funds that work on AIDS policies. That's funds at the global funds on global fight against HB and funds. And that was also very interesting, because I had the opportunity to work with people that are not related directly with Johnstown's. You had that, and also to know how work civil society in the United States. That's very different than the work from Latin America, for instance. So I think that also is a very huge opportunity to try to apply and try to research. What can you do also? Like there's also externships in the second semester. I think that it's very important. Also to use your time here in DC. Not only, of course, to study, but also to know a lot of people that are living in DC, a lot of organizations that are here. Whatever is your interest in, if your interest is non-communicable diseases, mental health, AIDS, you have a lot of people that are working here, human rights, and I think that also to have the opportunity to know that person to have a coffee. I think that is very important, and also has it's a part of the LLM experience. Not only, I think that also to think about the LLM experience as well, study, of course, think whatever you want to do in your life, in your career, but also, well, who you can meet here, how you that could improve yourself and your career. I think that also that's very important, and not you need to take that opportunity also. So that's thanks.
Thanks, Berenice. And I know we're coming up on time, so I'm just going to look through some of these questions that we have in the chat and see which ones I can pass up to some of our wonderful panelists. There's someone here saying greetings from Peru. For the scholars, what do you think made your application stand out compared to other applicants? I know Pato spoke a bit about this, so I will throw it over to you, Pato, to respond. And Juan Carlos, please keep typing. I see that you're also responding in the chat.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Olo, and the participants for the question. As I said, I think it's important so if you're applying for a scholarship, you'll need to write three things: like personal statement, the scholarship statement, and the statement of financial need. And I think it's important to use those three opportunities as a chance to tell your whole story beyond your application materials. So for personal statement, I would say that to make a successful or impactful application for this program, it's important to show your knowledge about or training about also health issues that might not be so apparent in your resume. Sometimes it's very clear from your resume, but if it's not, it's important to tell how you got either interested in health law or if you have any type of experience to show it there. And also for the personal statement, to explain why Georgetown, why the program compared to other programs, and what makes it different, and what do you think you can get out of the program. So I think that's also very important for the committee, for the admissions committee and for the scholarship committee as well, to see what you expect to do with your skills that you'll learn through the LLM. If you want to become a leader in the field, what do you expect to do, why you want to become a leader in the field as well. So that much for the personal statement. It's definitely, as echoing what Juan Carlos was saying, it takes a lot of internal reflection or self-reflection. And that's why I would encourage you to start writing it as soon as possible, even if it's just a rough draft, and then you can keep working on it. So for the scholarship essay, as I said, I would recommend maybe choosing developments at the national level and seeing how they can be connected to global health issues, or maybe if you are a US applicant, maybe you can talk a little bit more about US health issues and what the challenges are and what the solutions you think could be. But also I would recommend choosing topics that are maybe new or cutting edge in the field that can also set you apart from other applicants. So anything about, I don't know, artificial intelligence and health, or new emerging diseases. All of that, I think, is something that can set you apart. And finally, for the statement of financial need, I would say that's one of the most personal issues in or applications. And there you have to, I would say, show why you need a scholarship, why you truly need that to attend Georgetown, and that can set you apart from other applicants as well. And I think the best way to do that there is showing why or explaining why you cannot access other sources of funding. So for example, in the Argentine case, we don't have scholarships like Colfuturo that can be applicable. So that's something that maybe you can comment on, or why you cannot access other types of funding, or you have tried to access other type of funding and failed in the past. And yeah, I would say those are a few notes.
Thank you, Pato. And just also answer the other question about whether applying earlier increases the chances of obtaining a scholarship. Just like Jessica shared earlier, the priority deadline that is February 15, it gives you the opportunity of hearing back by April 1. And so while you probably hear back about admission by then, we recommend applying by February 15 if you would like to be considered for a scholarship, just because if you would require a visa, for example, that means that you hear back about the scholarship decision in time for you to apply for your visa or in time for you to figure out other funding sources. But that's not to say that, if you don't apply by February 15, you won't still be considered for a scholarship. But because we have a rolling application cycle, that means we continue to make admission and scholarship decisions as we get applications. So funding would have already gone out before an application that comes after February 15. But it doesn't necessarily rule you out from getting funding. I just think it's more competitive if you apply before the deadline than if you apply after. I hope that makes sense, but please feel free to reach out again if you would like more clarification on that. There's also a question about whether the Global Health Scholarship is full or part scholarship. So this Global Health Scholarship could either be partial tuition waivers or full tuition waivers. So that depends on the decisions of the scholarship committee, and depends on your application, depends on the statement of financial need, basically all the documents that are submitted and the decisions of the scholarship committees would determine whether or not you receive a full tuition waiver or a partial tuition waiver. There's also a question about more scholarships being available for the national and global health programs than for the global health and governance. That's not necessarily the case, but we do have more students who are interested and do the global health law LL.M over the national and over the global health and governance LL.M. So it's not necessarily that we have more scholarship options available for that. But also, as I mentioned, the Global Health Law and Governance Program is a joint LL.M degree. So it's not only run by Georgetown, it's run by Georgetown in conjunction with the Geneva Institute. So that means that two bodies are the ones that manage the scholarship decisions for this. And there's a limited number of students that can apply and are accepted to this program. So a lot of the reasons behind funding decisions are just based on the design of the program and not necessarily that more scholarships are available for the National and Global Health Law LL.M program. I hope that answers the question. I want to turn over to Bedima and April for just one last word. Okay, I see one question and I'll come to it. But Bedima and April, I just want to give you a quick opportunity to give final advice to our prospective students online here. If you have any advice about how you manage life in DC or what you did to make your application competitive. April, I know you have the Fulbright scholarship as well. Like if there's anything that you did specifically to land that scholarship, you can also share. Over to you, Bedima.
Okay, thank you, Olu. Sorry, I want to advise that no matter how much the cost is, Georgetown Law and DC itself, even though it's expensive, they have a very supporting environment to help you complete the program. So don't get discouraged by the hurdles and the fees and all that. Just go all out and try and put in the best of applications. The opportunities, like I went on the same program with Berenice, research assistant, fellowships. There are things that would help you to complete the program. I think maybe Olo and Jessica can share our email addresses with you. In the application processes, you can reach us individually if you have a challenge, and we will be very, very grateful to help you put up a very competitive application, not to write for, but to just give you guidelines, because the time is up and we may not have time to go through all that we did. Thank you very much.
All right, so for the Fulbright scholarship, there's a bit of a different process. I'm talking about Fulbright Philippines. I'm not sure about the process of other Fulbright commissions from other countries. But let me just give you a quick run through of the process of Fulbright. So the Fulbright application process in the Philippines ends by the 30th of April of every year. And that's the year before the applicants plan to pursue their LLM degrees in the US. So in my case, I submitted my application by April of 2023. And then I am pursuing now my LLM for the school year 2024-2025 because the Fulbright process lasts for the whole year. So there's a battery of examinations and panel interviews for Fulbright. And there are two main paper requirements, just like the application for direct to school application to Georgetown, for example. So for Fulbright, we also have the personal statement. The other panelists have shared their advice for the personal statement. Basically, you have to just introduce yourself and your academic credentials. If you have articles that you have published in reputable law journals, that will that's also an advantage for you. And then for Fulbright, we have the research objective. So basically, this is much more technical paper. So you'll have to emphasize why you want to pursue the proposed study that you want to pursue. So in my case, the health law LLM, and then why. So there are also letter of recommendations. The other panelists have talked about this. For Fulbright, there's no need for us to apply through the LSAC or to directly apply to the university, because once the applicant has been shortlisted for Fulbright scholarship, it's the Fulbright that does everything. So we just have to sit back and wait for the announcement. It's also the Fulbright that shouldered the application fees, even the TOEFL examination fees, all under Fulbright. So, well, Fulbright is a highly competitive scholarship giving body. Right now, there are only 7 of us scholars from the Philippines across different fields, and I'm the only lawyer. So my advice would be applicants should create or put together a unique narrative for themselves, something they must package themselves well for the selection committee to take a second, third hard look at their application, because yearly there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of applications coming in for Fulbright. And since it's a very highly competitive process, they have to make sure that the application will stand out. And what I did in my case was to emphasize the professional and personal motivations why I chose to specialize in health and disability laws and disability rights. As I have said, professionally, I was part of the technical working group in the Philippine Supreme Court that drafted the rules on Filipino Sign Language Act. So the advocacy is to make the Philippine judiciary more accessible for persons with disabilities. And then personally, I'm also a person with disability, as I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease in 2018. So I was an active member of a foundation in the Philippines, Hope for Lupus Foundation. So there's a fusion between my personal experiences and my professional background. That's why I was able to package myself well and come up with a compelling narrative. And then also I would like to emphasize that for Fulbright, the proposed study should have a huge impact, an enormous impact for the country of origin, because the thrust of Fulbright is to actually get the most talented individuals from their countries of origin, bring them to the US, finance their education, give them the monthly stipend, and then for only one condition, we have to go back to our countries of origin for at least 2 years. There's a bond, and just to give back and participate in governance in our countries of origin. That's the only condition. So imagine going to the US, getting that coveted LLM program from a reputable, the best school in the US, and then the only condition is to go back to the origin. And then thank you.
Thank you so much, April. I think we had just one last question about the differences between the two health law LLMs. And I just wanted to share that we've done a series of webinars, and I'm happy to share this link. If you can just email me, I've dropped my email address in the chat there. Just email me. I'm happy to share more information in case this doesn't suffice. But the major difference is that both LLMs, for the National and Global Health LLM, the program is fully in Georgetown. And for the Global Health Law and Governance LLM, the program is split between Georgetown, Washington, D.C., and the Geneva Graduate Institute in Geneva. So you spend one semester in the fall in DC and the spring semester in Geneva, and you have the option to do an internship right after your program concludes. And Bedima has also just volunteered to chat with anybody. So if you would like more information, Bedima is an alum of that specific program. And he just finished this 2024, actually, just a few months ago. So if you would like some more information, he's happy to share with you personally, but you can also just email me for more information. I know we are a bit over time, so I just really would like to appreciate our alumni and students who took time out of their busy schedules to chat with us today and share a bit more about how they finance their LLM programs, and also Jessica from the admissions office for her time. Thank you all so much for joining us. Please be on the lookout for the email, both from the admissions office with the application fee waiver and from us as well on the list of the different scholarships that you can apply for. If you have any questions, concerns, or if you face any issues as you go through the application process, please feel free to email me. My email is right up on the screen, and you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn if that's easier. Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you have a good rest of your day, afternoon, night, whatever time it is where you are. Thank you and bye.